is Anthony Albanese a liar or a fool? Now, you've got to ask that question today. This voice to Parliament idea of his is destroying his credibility now, and don't be surprised if he calls off this referendum before it becomes a total joke, because he's sinking with it. A total joke like he was this morning. Now, Albanese went on the ABC and put in probably his worst media performance as Prime Minister. And I think this could actually be a turning point. It was a shocker. Now, Albanese's been out there trying to sell his voice, this kind of Aboriginal-only advisory parliament in our constitution, but it's dying in the polls. It's taking him with him. And that's because voters are waking up to something. And Albanese's being shifty as all get out, trying to hide it. Many voters now seem to realise the truth, that this voice is part of a radical package to give people identifying as Aboriginal not just extra political rights, but a treaty as well. A treaty with potentially reparations, money. So now it's a clown act. Albanese trying desperately this morning not to mention that word treaty that he once proudly wore on his T-shirt, voice, treaty, truth. Now it's like, what treaty? Who said treaty?
If the voice passes, will you move to trying to negotiate a treaty or treaties?
No, Patricia, because that's occurring with the states are occurring.
So you're saying the Commonwealth will never have a role with treaties?
Right now.
What unbelievable spin. You know, the states are negotiating treaties, but Albanese won't, or won't say he won't, or I mean, seriously, whatever. I mean, like I say, shifty. And the interview of Patricia Karvelis, good on her, she tried again. She asked her, hang on, are you still committed to Commonwealth's negotiating treaties? But now, Albanese was getting really agitated and misleading, or maybe I should just come out and say dishonest.
Well, where does it say that? It doesn't even say that in the Uluru Statement from the Heart. It doesn't say that. It doesn't speak about the Commonwealth negotiating treaties. It doesn't say that.
From start to finish, when take your pick, is it lies? Is it deceit? Is it astonishing ignorance? You be the judge. Because in fact, the Uluru Statement, drawn up by Aboriginal activists and adopted in full by Albanese, how many times he said that, in full, does indeed mention a treaty as well as a voice. Now, true, it actually calls a treaty an agreement with governments, plural, and says it's the culmination of our agenda, the coming together after a struggle. By definition, a treaty. And indeed, Albanese has called this statement a call for a treaty and was all for his government negotiating one. Here he is just last year, saying what he now pretends isn't his plan and wasn't in the Uluru Statement.
Of Uluru's 3 generous requests: voice, truth, treaty. Labor is committed to all 3. The voice to Parliament enshrined in our Constitution. Truth, without which we can never be all that we can as a nation. And treaty, emerging from the Makarrata Commission, which Labor will establish.
Did you just hear that word treaty that he won't repeat now? In fact, Labor's draft national policy to be voted on at Labor's National Conference this month says exactly the same. Labor will take steps to implement all 3 elements of the Uluru Statement from the Heart in this term of government, including, it says, a treaty. So, I mean, the fast today got even more stupid. I don't know whether they're idiots or they take us for idiots. I don't know. Today in Parliament, the Liberals asked Indigenous Australians Minister Linda Burney, hello, you're already giving money to create that Makarrata Commission that Albanese mentioned, negotiating a treaty. What is that about exactly? And once again, Burney, I mean, is this woman totally out of her depth? I mean, again, I wonder, is it a health issue or just anyway, she was too terrified to answer the question she was asked and instead read out a script given to her.
Where the minister said progress of Makarrata will not occur until after the referendum. But, Minister, the government has already spent $900,000 of $5.8 million on this commission. What was this money spent on?
I'd like to quote from the Uluru Statement and what it says about Makarrata. It says, Makarrata is the culmination of our agenda, the coming together after a struggle. It captures our aspirations for a fair and truthful relationship with the people of Australia and a better future for our children based on justice and self-determination.
And that was it. I mean, I tell you again, for the second time in a row, last night, said the Speaker of Parliament is absolutely hopeless here. I mean, what is the point of question time if he doesn't actually make ministers actually answer the question they were asked or sit down and shut up? The way he's going right now, it's a betrayal of our parliamentary democracy that turns question time into a total farce. But back to Albanese's performance today, talking about farces. Your Prime Minister is now hiding something from you, hiding something very important about his plans to divide your country by race. And if he's now too scared to even mention his plans, mention his treaty in particular, then shouldn't you be scared of all that as well?